North Korea, the world's most enigmatic nation, is a place that many fear to enter. Would you have the courage to cross the boundary and enter one of the most perilous and heavily guarded areas on the planet? Are the tales of dictatorship and life under constant surveillance truly accurate? Will we manage to break free from the watchful gaze, or will we fall under the unyielding grip of Kim Jong-un's control? Come with us as we delve into these mysteries and reveal the untold truths of North Korea. Journey to discover North Korea. Right now we're in Beijing, the vibrant capital of China. This is the starting point for our special journey, with the goal of reaching North Korea, one of the most secretive and mysterious countries in the world. To step foot in this territory, we had to register through a specialized travel agency with a strict approval process. The conditions to participate aren't just about paperwork, they also require approval of a long list of stringent rules, some of which may seem absurd. For example, carrying a Bible is strictly forbidden. T-shirts with political slogans or provocative images are also not allowed. Books written in Korean or any materials related to South Korea are banned outright. And notably, journalists of any kind are not permitted entry. Before submitting our application, we had to erase nearly every trace of our online presence to become invisible on the internet. The journey is carried out through Air Koryo, North Korea's national airline. On the flight, there were no foreign newspapers. Instead, there were publications praising Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un and showcasing the latest missile tests. The screens didn't show any movies, only repeated propaganda videos. After about 90 minutes, we flew over the airspace of Pyongyang, the capital of a closed-off country, ruled by a 34-year-old leader who has made the world uneasy for months. Our group consists of around 20 tourists from various countries. Most nationalities are accepted, except for South Koreans, who are considered eternal enemies by the regime. From the bus windows, a different image of the country slowly revealed itself. North Korea is not just a place of missile tests, as the media often reports. It's also where modern high-rise buildings are starting to rise, silently signaling a shift. Over the course of 10 days, we will be taken to many locations within the country, but always under the strict supervision of local guides. Free movement is strictly prohibited. Every activity we do is under tight control. Every step is carefully monitored. We arrived at the Yanggakdo Hotel, the only one in the capital that can host international visitors. And right here, the first surprise awaited. Each year, about 5,000 Western tourists are allowed into North Korea. However, in recent years, the government has become increasingly cautious and suspicious of foreigners. It was at this hotel that an explosive event occurred during a similar trip to ours. In January 2016, Otto Warmbier, an American student, was arrested for allegedly stealing a state propaganda poster. 2 months later, images of him appeared in court, visibly disturbed, with his head lowered, clearly under extreme pressure. In the end, Otto Warmbier was returned to the United States, but in a deep coma. The North Korean government claimed he had contracted botulism, a rare form of poisoning, while in detention. However, his family made more serious accusations. They believed their son was tortured during his imprisonment. The autopsy did not provide a clear conclusion, and to this day, the cause of Otto's death remains a major mystery. However, one thing is clear from this incident: he failed to strictly follow the instructions from his guides. And that lack of caution may have led to consequences no one expected. No one knows exactly what happens on the mysterious 5th floor of this hotel. But we were clearly warned. If we crossed that boundary, we could be in real danger. North Korea is a land full of contradictions, a place where dreams and fears coexist. A country ruled by one of the most strict and closed-off regimes in the world. Leader Kim Jong-un, the head of the nation, is an enigmatic and unpredictable figure. He has never participated in any public interviews and keeps his distance from the international media. Instead, his image is crafted by the state through colorful stories of victories and leadership. Since Kim Jong-un took power 5 years ago, North Korea's nuclear position has dramatically strengthened. The country is now closer than ever to being recognized as a true nuclear power. And it seems that nothing, not even the pressure from leaders like Donald Trump, can make him waver. What are your thoughts on the authority and empire that this leader has established in the country? We'd love to hear your opinion. Throughout our time here, we will only see what the regime wants foreign visitors to see: massive statues honoring the supreme leaders, and a society that functions entirely on command, with no room for deviation. This is a covert observational journey, where even a simple act like lifting a camera to snap a picture could become a risky move. We are entering a world enveloped in layers of propaganda, where every aspect of daily life is carefully orchestrated with one clear purpose: to prepare the citizens for the looming threat of war. Here, songs extolling the supreme leader can be heard in both urban streets and the quietest rural corners. The melodies reverberate as an inseparable part of life, a reflection of the unwavering loyalty embedded in every citizen from a young age, even in middle schools. Trip to Switzerland. We also made our way to Switzerland, the place where Kim Jong-un spent his youth. At the time, his true identity was kept under wraps. No one could have predicted that the reserve student of that era would grow up to become one of the most powerful and contentious leaders on the global stage. Trip to Malaysia. Our journey ultimately brought us to Malaysia, the scene of the assassination that is widely believed to have been orchestrated by Kim Jong-un, targeting his half-brother. It was a ruthless act that marked a grim chapter in the political history of the region. This journey follows the trail of Kim Jong-un, the man regarded as the top adversary of the United States and its allies. A figure whose every move is closely monitored, yet remains unpredictable. In December 2011, when Kim Jong-il, the long-serving supreme leader of North Korea, passed away after 17 years in power, the world turned its focus to the identity of his successor. That successor turned out to be Kim Jong-un, his third and youngest son. At just 28 years old, Kim Jong-un appeared before the public at his father's funeral, his face swollen from crying, standing by the casket with tear-filled eyes. North Korean state television aired endless footage of the masses of citizens pouring into the streets, wailing in the falling snow. The regime's cameras captured every anguished expression, etching haunting and unforgettable images in the minds of viewers. Kim Jong-un stood shoulder to shoulder with top officials, escorting his father's casket in a solemn procession. At that moment, many outsiders doubted his ability to lead. Given his youth and perceived lack of experience, to helm such a tightly controlled and pressure-filled nation. But soon after, this new leader proved all those doubts wrong, silencing them with rapid action. Andrei Lankov, leading scholar on North Korea. Andrei Lankov, one of the leading global experts on North Korea, has spent years studying the three generations of the Kim dynasty, from Kim Il-sung to Kim Jong-il and now Kim Jong-un. In an interview, he shared a thought-provoking detail. He said, "Take note of the coffin and the 8 people walking beside it. At the front is Kim Jong-un. Right behind him is Jang Song-thag, the powerful uncle, who at that time was the most influential figure in the government. Just a year later, Jang became Kim Jong-un's closest advisor. But then, during a cabinet meeting, secret police suddenly raided and arrested him right in front of the television cameras. The following day, the state newspaper declared him a traitor and announced his execution. Kim Jong-un showed no sign of hesitation. In fact, within less than 2 years of taking power, he orchestrated a massive internal purge. Of the 6 people who had walked alongside his father's casket, 5 disappeared from the political scene. 2 were confirmed dead, and the fates of the remaining 3, though unclear, are widely believed to be similar. Is it brutal? Perhaps. But if you look at the history of any dynasty, especially monarchies before modern times, you'll see this recurring pattern. Being a regent or advisor to a young king has never been a safe position. A nation bows in silence. Kim Jong-un's shown that he is willing to go to any lengths to secure his absolute power. Through endless propaganda videos, portraying soldiers fervently cheering for their new leader, he sent a clear message: don't stand in his way. Upon arriving in North Korea, the first thing every visitor must do is pay their respects to the nation's 2 great leaders, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, the grandfather and father of the current leader, Kim Jong-un. Each day, thousands of citizens quietly line up to bow before the enormous statues built after the death of these 2 leaders. It's not just a formality, but a powerful message of allegiance and respect. We were also required to adhere to strict rules, purchase flowers, present them at the statues, a compulsory act for all guests. But taking photos is strictly prohibited, so we had to quietly document these moments, observing in silence, recording footage discreetly as if we too were part of this meticulously orchestrated ceremony. Kim Jong-un, an unusual president. Kim Jong-un, on the surface, is just another national leader like any other. But the next phase of our trip unveils an entirely different reality. Let's explore it. At a nearby bookstore, we discovered shelves filled with his works, published in many different languages. At the age of 34, in addition to his role as the supreme leader, he's known as a prolific author, with a significant number of books credited to his name. Along with the books, the shelves also held music albums, each song dedicated to praising the father of the nation. Just like his father and grandfather, Kim Jong-un is surrounded by a powerful aura of state-driven propaganda. The portrayal of the leader is that of a superhuman figure, riding a mighty horse, steering tanks, submarines, and even fighter jets. He is also depicted as a close companion to the elderly, a source of emotion that brings children to tears and causes women to cry in admiration. His image is near divine, carefully cultivated and constantly reinforced in the everyday lives of the people. However, there's one factor that leads people to believe he might be different from his predecessors. Kim Jong-un was partly educated in Europe, far away from the controlled environment of North Korea. Kim Jong-un's childhood is a mystery. His early years remain shrouded in mystery. It is believed that he was born in 1983, though the exact date of his birth has never been confirmed. In the few rare photographs that exist, he is seen standing next to his mother, a ballet dancer and the second wife of Kim Jong-il. As a teenager, Kim Jong-un was sent abroad to study. His destination was Liebefeld, a quiet town in Switzerland, a neutral country that maintained one of the few remaining diplomatic ties with North Korea. This decision wasn't just a political strategy. Switzerland had long been recognized for its progressive education system, promoting independent thinking and modern teaching methods. Kim Jong-un's time in this environment led many to ask, did the freedom of the West influence the mind of a leader raised in a society so drastically different? At the time, only the Swiss government was aware they were hosting the family of someone who would eventually become a dictator. Kim Jong-un moved to Switzerland with his brother and sister, all while their true identities were kept under wraps. These are the official immigration documents for the three children entering Switzerland. The original names were preserved, but they were later altered. Instead of the powerful Kim surname, associated with North Korea's leadership, they adopted the fake surname Pak. As a result, Kim Jong-un lived in Switzerland under the alias Pak Houn. His real identity remained hidden throughout their stay. Even his closest friends and teachers never suspected that the quiet boy they knew was the son of an authoritarian leader, destined to inherit one of the world's most secretive regimes. Later, the Swiss newspaper Sonntagszeitung conducted a forensic facial comparison between the young boy and the current dictator. The evidence was undeniable. They were the same person, just a few years older and a bit heavier. The era of Kim Jong-un. In July 2012, just a few months after assuming power, Kim Jong-un made a public appearance like no other. He attended a concert in Pyongyang with his wife, who made her first ever public appearance, breaking the unwritten tradition of North Korea's first ladies. The performance was astonishing. The orchestra played the theme from Rocky, with images of Stalin triumphing over his Soviet opponent. On stage were Mickey, Minnie, the Seven Dwarfs, and Winnie the Pooh, icons of American culture that couldn't be mistaken. It was a jaw-dropping moment in a nation that's tightly controlled, where every detail is packed with meaning and purpose. What are your thoughts on this moment? Share them in the comments. 2 years later, Kim Jong-un openly expressed his love for American basketball. He invited Dennis Rodman, the former NBA star, to Pyongyang for his birthday. It was a surprising move on the global stage, but it highlighted a unique aspect of his character compared to past leaders. Under his leadership, North Korea began making some notable changes. Economic reforms were introduced, bringing in more financial opportunities for the country. In Pyongyang, modern buildings started popping up, towering American-style skyscrapers overlooking the enormous statues of past leaders. Kim Jong-un also launched a series of Swiss-inspired projects, such as urban developments, resorts, and entertainment spots. However, these modern conveniences were only available to the privileged elite. Despite all of this, the tour guides proudly told us that life in North Korea was happy, full, and a paradise, as they were taught to believe. But behind the smiles, is their life really as peaceful and joyful as it's made out to be? Or is it just a mask constructed by Kim Jong-un to fool the outside world? Trip to Korea. To truly grasp what lies behind the smiles and dances in North Korea, we needed to visit a neighboring country where we could converse openly with locals without fear of being accused of a crime. We are now in Seoul, the capital of South Korea, North Korea's biggest political rival. In this city, around 30,000 people have fled the North Korean regime to seek freedom. Choi Soo-yang, 26, is one of them. She left Pyongyang in 2014, 2 years after Kim Jong-un took power. According to her, the country remains unchanged, the control is as oppressive as ever, and life continues to be stifling. Now, in Seoul, she frequently appears on television, joining shows where she and the hosts openly criticize the northern regime, something she never dared to do back in her homeland. In South Korea, Soo-yang first experienced a world of connection, the polar opposite of the isolation she grew up with. In North Korea, only the elite are allowed to drive their own cars, one of the many injustices she had to accept. However, there was a time when she had faith in Kim Jong-un. His admiration for Western culture and the early signs of reform gave her hope, but that hope quickly vanished. Kim Jong-un doesn't allow anyone to stand in his way, both within his country and outside of it. That's why he took action against his half-brother Kim Jong-nam, his uncle Jang Song-tak, and several others. After the assassination, Kim Jong-un remained utterly silent. From that moment on, he became the sole heir of the Kim family. He also solidified his power by advancing North Korea's missile and nuclear weapons programs, sending a loud and clear message to the world: no one can challenge me. This message was constantly reinforced in propaganda videos aired on state-run television. During our visit, the regime conducted a nuclear test, celebrating it as a monumental victory. That success was showcased everywhere: in the press, on the streets, front-page headlines, displayed behind glass like exhibits warning South Korea and the US of nuclear war. Demilitarized Zone. We are headed to the DMZ, the Demilitarized Zone that divides North and South Korea. On this peninsula, 10 million people have been separated, families split apart with no clear hope of reunification. Today we find ourselves standing at the very spot where that division began, a place heavy with the sorrow of a nation. The DMZ, despite being labeled demilitarized, remains the world's most tense flashpoint. The ceasefire agreement was signed in 1953, yet the war has never truly ended. About 700,000 North Korean troops are stationed near the border, facing 400,000 South Korean soldiers, plus 30,000 American forces. A delicate balance, and a single spark could set it all ablaze. We are led to the room where the ceasefire was signed, but the atmosphere here feels anything but peaceful. Do you sense that too? Min-bok, a North Korean refugee. About an hour and a half outside of Seoul, we met Min-bok, a North Korean defector who fled to South Korea over 20 years ago. His life was altered by an anti-regime leaflet. Nowadays, Mr. Lee is a target of the North Korean government, with a wanted notice and a bounty on his head. Inside the balloons he sends across the border are anti-regime messages, banned Bible verses, and even films criticizing Kim Jong-un, all stored on USB drives. The South Korean police stay close by to protect him. The concept behind the leaflets is simple. Each balloon is attached to a timer. When the time is up, the balloon bursts, and the leaflet is carried by the wind. Mr. Lee inflates each balloon, a task supported by a South Korean missionary group. The balloons cross the border silently. How effective is it? It's hard to know. For North Koreans, being caught holding a leaflet can mean losing their freedom or even their life. Last day in North Korea. This is our last day in North Korea. Throughout the trip, aside from the accompanying guides, we could only observe the local people from a distance. All interactions were strictly limited. They are not allowed to leave the country, nor can they speak to the outside world. The internet here is nearly non-existent. Only about 0.5% of the population has access, and only the wealthy and powerful enjoy this privilege. Even they are closely monitored. Since coming to power, Kim Jong-un has actively promoted the tourism industry. His goal was to attract 2 million international visitors per 2020, 20 times the current number. And for visitors, he wants to show them this, a society that is orderly, uniform, always smiling, but more importantly, one that practices absolute obedience. What are your thoughts on North Korea's continued silence in an increasingly connected world? We'd love to hear your views in the comments below. If you liked today's video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to support our channel. Your support means a lot and keeps us motivated to bring you high-quality content. Click on the video currently showing on your screen. I'm confident you'll enjoy it. Also, let us know in the comments which country you'd like us to explore next. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.